Welcome everybody to our webinar today on how to take your e-commerce business global. We're going to discuss shipping your products and how easy it is to do it with eShipper. Today's webinar is brought to you by the Magnet Export Business Portal, eShipper, and the Government of Ontario. So today we have an interesting group of people that are going to be presenting. So I'll start off the webinar by introducing our speakers. Then I'll go through Emily's presentation, or she'll go through a presentation speaking about how the Magnet Export Business Portal can help you grow your business. Then we got Imtiaz, who's the Vice President of Sales at eShipper. And then we got Riaz, who's the President of Crystallization Incorporated. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll go through some Q&A, so feel free to post your questions at any time. Let me start off by introducing our panelists today. On the left-hand side is Andrew Patricia, that's me. I'm a business owner, and I help business owners take the steps they need to take to build a successful business. We do that through webinars and seminars and a bunch of different things that we do for small business. Then we've got Emily Collins. She's the communications coordinator for Magnet. She's the newest addition to the Magnet platform, the Magnet Export Business Portal. Emily works directly with businesses and business support organizations to help raise awareness of the numerous opportunities available to businesses to help them grow and expand internationally. When businesses thrive, we all do, and Emily wants to ensure that businesses have access to the resources necessary to grow. Our second guest is Imtiaz Kamali. He's the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at eShipper. Imtiaz is the VP of Sales and Marketing, and he manages a team of 30 sales and marketing associates across Canada and the US who are constantly supporting small businesses and larger businesses in North America with thinking global and taking their company to the international market. Imtiaz provides thought leadership through various forums in the tech and logistics industry, through writing blogs, hosting webinars and presentations with trade boards and government agencies to support and enhance international trade for businesses across North America. Then we have Riaz Datu. He's completed a BBA at Schulich and led the marketing portfolio for health and beauty products of Procter & Gamble, so lots of experience. He started 3D Crystal business in 2004 with one location, and by 2008 had grown nationally to over 200 resellers. In 2017, he launched Cockpit 3D software for the industry and now sets up entrepreneurs looking to run their own business. He has been recognized for innovation by the former President Barack Obama, former President Stephen Harper, and Justin Trudeau. So lots of experience, lots of knowledge, and I'm sure we're going to learn from them. So let's start off with Emily. Emily, share with us a little bit of information about the Magnet Export Business Portal.
All right, thank you so much, Andrew, for the introduction, and thank you, Imtiaz and Riaz, for joining us today on this webinar. I think it's going to be really great. And just before I get started, really why the Magnet Export Business Portal partners with organizations like eShipper. Of course, eShipper services are making it easier for small and medium-sized businesses to manage their shipping and logistics needs and really around the world. And so, we're serving a lot of the same audience, and we want eShipper businesses to know how they can be accessing the right opportunities, services, and resources that are out there to help their business grow. And so, whether you are already signed up for the export portal, you're going to learn a lot about eShipper today. And if you are already using eShipper's services, then you're going to learn how you can access all of the right export opportunities and business growth resources on the Magnet Export Business Portal. And so just to give a little bit of background information on the export portal and what Magnet is. And so Magnet started as a social innovation in 2014, and the company really advances careers, businesses, and communities. And it does it using a technology platform, and more specifically, a data matching platform. And so the technology was incubated out of Ryerson University's DMZ, the Digital Media Zone, the tech incubator at Ryerson. And it was really created as a tool to match job seekers with employers. And it uses that data matching technology to ensure that job seekers are only receiving job postings that they're actually eligible for, and then on the employer side, they use the same drop-down pick list as a job seeker would use to build out their profile, and they can target their job posting to a very specific group of candidates. So for the employer, they're not receiving, hundreds or thousands of applications for job seekers who really aren't fit for the job. And so fast forward a few years to 2017. So from 2014 to 2017, Magnet was able to build 120,000 job seekers on the talent portal, over 14,000 employers, and then 230 community partners. And so they all have different entry points onto the Magnet network, but we really say it's being a node on the Magnet network and using the communication platform to meet your needs and advance either, your career, your business, or really, the greater community. And something that's really exciting now, this is just an update on the talent side. If you are an employer and you create an account on Magnet, and I'll discuss it a little bit in a few slides, but you'll be able to access both the export function as well as the talent function. Magnet has just recently partnered with Orbis Communications, and they have the technology integration to 88 job boards in universities across Canada, where they operate the job boards and the jobs coming through those systems to target co-op students. And so by creating an account, a business account on the Magnet Export Business Portal, you'll also have access to the talent side, and you'll now be able to create a job posting to target co-op students. And with the click of one button, you can actually hit over 1 million job seekers on the student side. So that's just a fun new update. But what we're really here for today is to talk a little bit about export. And if you see my slide, I have why drive business growth via exporting. And really, the business case for exporting has always been very clear. So of course, businesses are able to increase their revenues, and they're able to grow at a faster rate. They're able to expand their customer base beyond the small Canadian market, and they're also able to become more competitive. So, you're able to think more outside of the box. You have different customers. You're able to be more innovative. And how this project really came out of Magnet was the former Ministry of International Trade, which is now the Ontario Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, came to Magnet and asked if you can use the job matching technology to connect job seekers with employers, are you able to do the same thing with businesses and export opportunities? Because the export challenges for businesses were really clear, and at the end of the day, there are just so many opportunities out there from organizations like the Ontario government, like Global Affairs Canada, Export Development Canada, and Business Development Bank of Canada, that businesses just haven't been fully taking advantage of. And so when we sat down with a small focus group of businesses while developing this technology, we asked them, why aren't you taking advantage of all of these opportunities that are out there, and many of them your taxpayer dollars are paying for? So really from them, their main response was that it's just accessing these opportunities. So they don't have the time of day to search out the right opportunities. There's just so many resources out there, and it gets quite confusing. And then, of course, there's multiple providers of these programs. So what's the difference between going on a trade mission with EDC or with the Ontario government or the federal government? So there's all these different content providers, lots and lots of great trade missions, trade programs, workshops, events, funding programs, but it's just trying to figure out which ones are relevant to you and which ones really you should be taking advantage of. And so that is why we created the Magnet Export Business Portal. So again, it's a node on the Magnet network. When you create an account, you answer 7 to 10 questions depending on your export experience. It's really a one-stop shop. When you hit submit to your business profile, you're going to be matched with these opportunities like government funding, grants, trade financing information, networking events, trade shows, trade missions, really anything out there that can help your business grow and scale. And you're only being connected with those things that meet your business profile that you just filled out. And so really, like I said, all of our opportunities come from the Government of Ontario, EDC, Global Affairs Canada, and BDC. And really, we like to, use the expertise of these organizations because the expertise and the resources and the opportunities are already out there, and it's just taking these opportunities and filtering them to the right businesses. So what's really different about the export portal? What's different about this particular portal is that it's not a database. It's not a directory of all of the opportunities that are out there. I'm sure if you are a small business owner, and you've gone out to the government to look for funding or to look for opportunities like this, you've been lost in the vortex of government websites. You navigate through different pages, click through different links, you get brought off to another website altogether, or you finally find an application that you are interested in applying for, a funding program. You begin filling out the application, you get halfway through and you realize, oh, I'm not actually eligible for this program. And so really the goal of this portal is to only use targeted communication. And you'll receive, upon signing up and completing your business profile, you'll receive push notifications straight to your email about opportunities that are relevant to your business and that will help your business grow. And so it's not, another Twitter or LinkedIn or email that you have to check every day. You'll have your portal there. You'll have a customized dashboard news feed where opportunities will be populating, but you can also set your email notifications so that when an opportunity comes up that you're eligible for, you'll be pinged in your email, and so you'll be the first to hear about that opportunity. So how does it work? Like I said, you have to complete a business profile. You have to go through a short onboarding process to begin receiving these opportunities. Because we're partnered with eShipper, eShipper has its own node on the Magnet network, and you can sign up through eShipper's URL, which is eShipper.magnet.today. If you sign up through this URL, you'll also be receiving any news, events, important resources, information, new information on services that eShipper has coming out. So because they have an entry point on the export portal, they're also able to communicate with their businesses as well. So again, you'll be the first to hear about anything new and upcoming with eShipper, in addition to receiving all the pertinent information you need to know from EDC, BDC, Global Affairs Canada, and the Ontario government. So really, the first step to completing a profile, we just ask for key information from businesses, and we wanted to make this business profile as clear and concise as possible. We know that you small business owners do not have a lot of time every day, and so we wanted to make this profile really short and concise, but also be collecting all of the information on the back end that we need to target you with the right information. So the right funding programs, we need to look at the eligibility criteria and make sure that we're getting it from you as a business so that we send you the right information. All of this information is completely confidential, so it's not shared. It's not something that I can look at. It's not something that any of our partners or the government has access to. It's specifically just to ensure that we are targeting you with the right programs and resources. So we ask you for your URL, name, address, the industry that you're in and the markets that you serve. And these are, we ask for your NAICS codes, your 6-digit NAICS codes. And so if there are multiple NAICS codes that apply to your business, even outside of what your business is registered as, we always tell businesses, include those NAICS codes, because you might come across opportunities that you wouldn't have originally considered. You will ask for your organization type. So if you're private, public, non-for-profit, or an educational institution, the number of employees in your business, so we ask for a range, and your founding year. And Andrew, if you could move to the next slide. Thank you. And then we'll also just need to collect some information on what your export experience is. So have you exported before? If you hit no, you'll just get asked a couple more questions. So your total sales revenue range and your export markets of interest. So you can fill in as many countries as you'd like. If you don't know yet and you're open to receiving opportunities or information from any country, you can just hit don't know yet. And then if you are exporting, there are just a couple more questions we ask. So we'd like to know what your export percentage of your total business revenue is, and then also how many years of exporting experience you have. And that's really just to gauge, how long you've been exporting and what your experience is, so that if you have been exporting already for a number of years, we're not sending you workshops on, how to launch your export plan, because we know that you're past that stage and that information is not relevant for you. So from here, it's really just hitting the submit button, like I said. It's keeping an eye out for emails as they come through. Once you create an account, you can set your email notifications to receive them on either a daily or a weekly basis. We have some businesses ask us, I signed up for the Magnet Export Business Portal. In the first 3 weeks, I was getting an email from you every single week, and now it's been a couple weeks and I haven't heard anything. And that's just because there might not be anything coming out from any of our partner organizations right now that is relevant to you. So again, it's not blanketed communication. It's not, an e-blast or anything like that. It's really only receiving information or opportunities when it's relevant to you. And so this is just what your dashboard feed will look like. So your My Messages section functions as a live feed. You'll also have a learning center, which is a curated learning center. And all of the content in this learning center works the same way as our targeted messages do. So you're only receiving resources, country information, market data, business planning resources, really any of that more static content. It's all, again, catered to your business. It meets your business profile, and so it's curated in the same way that your notification system will be. And like I mentioned, by creating an account on the export portal, so signing up through eShipper.magnet.today, you'll also have the opportunity to create job postings. So as a business, you're going to have access to the 120,000 plus job seekers that are currently on the portal. And then, like I said, with Magnet's new Orbis integration, you're also able to hire co-op students, and with one job posting, you can hit over 1 million co-op students across the country. And so if you're looking to hire new talent and new co-op talent, that's a really good option for you. So just in summary, benefits for businesses, at the end of the day, it's targeted, it's convenient, and it's free. And that's something I always actually forget to mention to businesses. This is completely free. The technology is funded by the Ontario Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And so for businesses, it's free, and it always will be free. I'm sure you don't want another thing to be paying for. And at the end of the day, most of this information is publicly available information anyways. It's just being targeted to you in a way that you're only receiving relevant content, and you are not having to spend the time and the money and the resources to go out there and be always looking for this type of information, these types of opportunities, because we realize that small businesses often have, small teams and not always enough capacity to be out there looking for these opportunities when you're caught up in your busy day-to-day operations. And so that's really just an overview of the Magnet Export Business Portal. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. And again, if you'd like to create your account, please use the eShipper.magnet.today URL, and that way you can ensure that you're going to be receiving relevant information from eShipper. And we're going to be hearing more about eShipper's services and how you can benefit from them now from Imtiaz.
Thank you very much, Emily. So if anybody's got any questions, you're welcome to post them in the questions section on the right-hand side of the screen. I see that there are already some questions there, and we'll be able to respond to them at the end of the webinar, so keep that in mind. All right, so next we've got Imtiaz. Imtiaz, share with us some information about eShipper and how businesses can use it to grow their businesses.
Good afternoon, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and happy Halloween. I was actually going to try and do this webinar in costume, but I was refused. So taking your e-commerce business global, this is always an incredibly exciting time for businesses, but it's also especially daunting when there is so many unknowns about which type of industry you're going into, which type of country, and what type of laws they have. So a lot of the discussion has been centered around using the right type of tools and the right type of partners. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about how eShipper could be the right partner for you when it comes to working on the logistics side of it. In my presentation, I will quickly go over a quick introduction of our services, what type of shipping considerations you need to make. I also want to touch a little bit on some of the other considerations that you should make when shipping products globally, and then how the platform is able to actually help companies meet their goals, and finally, how to get started with eShipper. So eShipper is an online platform. It was formed about 14 years ago. It's completely free and an automated platform to use. It's cloud-based, just like your Gmail and Facebook. And it basically allows you to compare shipping rates online. On the left-hand side, you'll see us in numbers. We do around 1 million plus shipments on a yearly basis, and that gives us a really good volume discount that we then pass on to businesses. When we first concepted this company, it was really about helping Canadian businesses to streamline their efforts when coming to find shipping services online. Today, it's become a lot more than that. We've become a big technology player, especially as a lot of the business is now moving to e-commerce and final mile delivery to people's homes. What's become a big consideration is how you can do a bunch of work without having to actually put the manual work in. So we do a lot of automation, and we center our services a lot around technology. The reason we've become a convenient place for businesses to stop by and use our services is because we're the Trivago of shipping. We allow you to get the best-in-class pricing from the best-in-class carriers, and not one carrier can do everything very, very well or at the best rate. And we understand that small businesses don't have the time or the resources to look around and spend a lot of time on finding the right deals. So we've made your life a lot easier, and we've brought it all into one screen. We have offices in Toronto, Canada, and in Florida, and we're able to provide you shipping rates across the entire North America. As I said earlier, we partner with the best-in-class Tier 1 carriers such as UPS, DHL, Puro, and so many more. We also work with Canada Post, and we work with postal services for international e-commerce, such as DHL e-commerce. We're one of the exclusive partners for online shipping. And I'll show you a little bit about their services a little later down, because this is the key to how e-commerce businesses are able to go international and find that market and be able to actually provide a good shipping service and still make profit margin on the cheaper items that they sell. Our services include mail, the Courier Express. We also do freight services, full truckloads. So wherever you have shipments coming in from your suppliers, whether it's from India, China, across the world by sea or by air, or it's going out to your final retail, wholesale customers or final mile, consumer-based customers, we do it all. We have a 360 program that actually allows you to use us as a warehouse and fulfillment arm as part of your company. We have a 24-hour operation because we deal with so many international partners, and therefore we become your extra arm and your logistics arm in making sure that your business strives day in, day out. Now, some of the considerations that each business should take when going international is really to start to think about scale. Automation is key when you start to think about scale and bringing together a bunch of information and trying to streamline it all. We have built our own proprietary shopping cart integrations such as Shopify and WooCommerce, and what we allow you to do with these integrations is basically from the order generation where the customer goes onto your website and places an order, they're able to get real-time shipping rates. So they already have a perception of how much shipping costs, and once they check out, your order is sent automatically into eShipper to build a label. So you don't have to strive from one platform to the other, creating labels and transferring tracking numbers. Everything is done via API and simplified for you. You need to start to think around shipping rates. So do you want to provide free shipping? Do you want to provide a flat rate shipping? Or do you want to provide real-time shipping? And eShipper allows you to do it all. We also consult you based on areas that you need to start to think about shipping being expensive, areas where you could actually get really good rates and you could piggyback on other services. And the idea is that one of the biggest things that a person abroad or an international customer is looking for is a good streamlined shipping service. Whether it's tracked or untracked, they're not going to pay an arm and a leg to get that product if they can buy it in their country. So you've got to make a really good case for them to be buying it from you if they're an international customer. Some of the things you've got to think about is the commodity that you're shipping. When you're shipping things like food, medicines, creams, there are all different types of certifications you may need. For example, if you're shipping food into the US, you're going to need to be compliant with the FDA. If you're doing it into Europe, there are European certifications that you need to have. And so you're going to need to work closely with your manufacturer. But if you're shipping things like apparel, the thing you've got to think about most is return shipments. You've got to think about the weight of your boxes and things like that. Now, when it comes to tracking, I think this is a really key thing for consumers in this day and age. They want to know where their shipment is. And some people are actually willing to pay a lot more money to get it faster and to be able to be in the know all the time. So having a tracked service is actually really, really important. And there are services that we provide, such as DHL e-commerce, that allow you to get tracking at different levels. So you can either have tracking that stops when it enters the country that it's going into, or you could have until delivery confirmation tracking, so that when the customer has actually received his product, you will get a delivery confirmation to say this has been delivered now, and you can have that peace of mind that your customer knows what's going on the whole way through. Now, when it comes to shipping options, you got to be, you got to be careful with this. Don't give too many options, because then you're giving the customer a headache to think about. But also give them options, and I'll give you an example. When we're shipping into the Middle East, for example, you may be shipping into Dubai or Qatar. These are wealthy countries. People in those countries have good disposable income, and sometimes they're not looking for a Canada Post type service. They're looking for a DHL or Aramex Express type service and are willing to pay for it. So in certain countries, you should give them the option of a mail type service or an express type service and let them make that decision. But saying the same thing about shipping something to the US, if it's under £1 and it's shipping to the US, you'd rather give them a good mail service like DHL e-commerce, which piggybacks off USPS, and give them the option of a UPS ground or an express. Now, feedback is really, really important. And you want to use that especially in markets where you're considering, finding a distributor or actually exporting larger, bigger amounts. The first thing you want to do is obviously start small, start on your e-commerce store and start to understand what's working and what's not working. And once you do have that, start to use different types of feedback loops to see where you want to go. And I'll give you a quick example of that. I have a customer that is into apparel, and she's found that, she's getting a lot of orders from South Africa and the UK. So she is now progressively looking at relationships in those countries, and that's where Magnet Export Portal and the EDC Export Development Canada really play a huge role, and we'll touch on that a little bit down the line. Relationships. So you want to work with companies like eShipper that will give you that hand-holding and that ability to work with Magnet Export Portal or the export development. One of the things that Emily mentioned earlier was when you're trying to deal with this company, sometimes you're toggling between different departments and you're not sure who the right person to speak to is. Use partners like eShipper because we have dedicated teams that will actually help you to get to the right department. Finally, you want to think about marketing. When you're growing your business globally, you definitely want to make sure that your social media is up to par. You're getting a lot of reviews from people across the world talking about your product, because I want to buy a product that's coming in from the UK. I want to see what other Canadians are saying about that company. I want to see what other Brits in the UK are saying about how well that company deals with, returns, how quickly their shipment was delivered to them, so on and so forth. Now, how does eShipper solutions allow you to help your export goals? So one thing we talked about earlier is automation. It's all about simplifying your workload and making it as quick as possible so that you're not manually having to do things on a day-to-day basis. You want to use companies like eShipper who have competitive express rates like DHL, Aramex, and UPS. You're using our buying power of 1 million shipments a year to basically get up to 80% discount on some of these services. So you can go it alone, but using services like ours really allow you to get the best in-class rates. We have an exclusive product called Smart Post, where you're using Canada Post and you're using DHL e-commerce. These services allow you to get rock bottom rates on shipping to people's homes. So in Canada, for example, Canada Post doesn't charge you a residential delivery, whilst the likes of UPS and other courier companies will. DHL e-commerce allows you to ship to the US for under $10 if you're shipping a pound or less. So you've got really good shipping solutions that you should take a lot of advantage of. Expertise and consultancy, we are the right people to give you advice on how your shipping strategy should work. We have a 360 program that we talked about, which was around fulfillment, which includes storing, packing, and shipping. And then, eShipper gives you a dedicated account manager. This account manager is your go-to person where you have new products, new projects. If you're having issues, don't go it yourself. We already have experience of working with 18,000 customers, and we really want to make sure that you grow, because when you grow, we grow. And finally, I think, relationships with organizations like Magnet Export and Export Development Canada, who actually have the right level of knowledge and have spent the money and have mandates by the government to actually support you in growing your business across the world. I wanted to share with you just a couple of examples on how much savings there are to be had when shipping just to the UK and US here. You can see anywhere between 61%, 58%, 66% shipping 2 ounces, 1 pound, 3 pounds, so on and so forth. So we have taken a comparison here between DHL e-commerce, which is a tracked service, and a fully tracked service of the postal system in your country. And what we've found is that DHL e-commerce, due to their volume and the size of the business, they use a hybrid system of express and mail, allowing you to save over 60 to 70% on shipping across the world. And these are numbers that we've shared with you because we feel like the UK and US are Canada's biggest shipping partners. But we have others that we can share with you, and we would love to consult you on others too. Talking a little bit about why eShipper and why we're the partner of choice. Innovation is in our DNA. We've always done this, and we'll definitely work with you to provide a tailored solution. We were the first people in Canada to bring shipping online. And this has been what we've strived for year on year. Within our board, we have over 100 years of experience. We provide a great customer service, and you will see that through speaking to some of our client base. We provide you a preferential level of service and competitive rates, even though you may be a startup, a small, medium-sized business. You get the service that larger businesses get because we provide you with a customer service team, a dedicated account manager, and a claims team that works behind all of us to make sure that you don't have to pick up the phone and call any of the carriers yourself. We can scale our business as you scale your business, so we're that right partner to make sure that your growth is done correctly. We provide free consultancy, and we do a lot of thought leadership programs where you will be able to gain free information just by working with us. Again, we have a 24/7 service, and we tailor our service to make sure that we're meeting your demand and your requirements. Now, I think the last point is how to get started. We're an absolutely free platform to use. You don't have to have high volumes. You don't have to be a big shipper. We actually work with entrepreneurs and startups daily. And you can sign up for free on our website. You can actually go on eShipper.com, and the first thing you'll see is get a free quote. When you click on that, we will actually follow up with you free of charge and make sure that, that shipment, if it's going to a certain place, we can actually get it for you hopefully cheaper or give you even better discounts depending on what your volumes are. And finally, we love to see emails from our customers. So you can email us at sales@eShipper.com, and someone will definitely follow up with you within the first 24 hours. I hope that's been helpful. We're always here to help, and please do use us as a free resource. We love speaking to new startups. Thank you so much.
Some great information there, and I encourage all of you to check it out. I think it's a great solution, even if you go and just contact eShipper just to understand what services they offer. I think it sounds brilliant, really simple, easy to use. And when you look at some of those savings on the rates, I think it's excellent. So check it out. And just remember, if you've got any questions for Imtiaz, you can post them in the question section on the right-hand side of the screen, and then we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Now we've got Riaz. Riaz is going to tell us a little bit about Crystallization and how he's managed to scale and grow Crystallization. So Riaz, tell us your story and share with us some information. Hi Riaz, you there? There you go. Riaz, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, excellent. We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and about about your business. Thank you.
Thanks for having me here, and I'll be as concise as possible. We started our business in 2004, and what we do, as you can see with the image that's displayed there, is we employ laser technology to burn images inside crystal. And really what's different about what we're doing is that we're burning at the subsurface level. So we're not etching on the surface. We're taking images and we're etching them inside the crystal. The crystal remains solid, and the surfaces appear completely untouched. And that's really what amazes people. And because we're inside the crystal, we're able to play with depth. And when we play with depth, we're able to make it 3D. So while you probably can't appreciate the 3D nature when looking at it on a flat screen monitor, what you're seeing here is a project that was actually done for Elon Musk on the launch of the Model X. And that car is popping out, and if you were to turn the crystal to the side, you'd actually see the profiles of his face and his nose protruding as well. So we started our business in 2004. For the first 6 months, we focused on the Toronto market and very quickly expanded nationally in a collaborative business model. And what that means when I say nationally is we had, by the end of the year, a couple hundred locations selling our product. We partnered with shops that were a good match for our product, had them display our product, and take quite a healthy margin on the sales that they would make, submit the orders, we would fulfill, and then ship it back to their store where the customer would pick up. And then in 2013, we expanded further into the United States. In 2017, we introduced a very interesting model. It's a membership model. It's really targeted to entrepreneurs and people looking for great businesses with low startup investment but awesome margins and annual revenues. This photo that you see here is one of 6 locations in Las Vegas, and this entrepreneur wanted to start selling 3D crystals. You know, a lot of times people don't want to invest $50,000 to $100,000 in technology. Well, that's where we come in with an awesome package. He was able to get in for just a few $1,000s, and he'll turn over around $250,000 in a year in 3D crystal sales. The beauty is that today it's made with any photograph, so they can provide any photo. We model to 3D and laser etch it inside the crystal. Next slide, please. So I was asked to identify what some of our challenges have been, and I think these are challenges that many businesses would face. legal permissions, first off, on protecting ourselves and ensuring that we're not infringing any other rights as we work, not only within our country, but as we move into other countries to really understand what our legal rights are and not stepping on other people's toes when it comes to utilizing technology. Cross-border paperwork, filling out regulatory forms to avoid shipping holdups. So you'll see, for example, on the left-hand side, I have a photo there of a little drawing that I did that was done in my hotel room after a meeting with one of the cruise ships, and they wanted to be able to display the 3D crystal, but not just on their existing counter. They wanted a solution where there was integrated lighting, the crystals would be illuminating, they could move the display over to the dining area for when, you know, the guests were going for dinner, they would be exposed to the product. Then they would want to roll it over to, you know, the theater area when they were going for entertainment, move it back to the photo area when customers were going to select their photos, and just continuously showcasing the product. So we developed, we started with this drawing, created a 3D rendering, got a mill to actually make it, and it was approved. There was 16 of these made and shipped in a container over to Miami. And while it's being held in bond before release, it's already in Miami. We get a call asking for information on what kind of a tree was used for the wood in this counter. And I mean, that's the last question you would expect to receive is, you know, what kind of a tree was cut down to you know, provide the raw material to make this counter. And that's a question I'm getting. And this is really where it's a challenge that you don't expect, and it comes up. Duties and taxes. You know, inconsistencies. We're under NAFTA. We're manufacturing right here in Canada very proudly, and we're supplying to the world. We're under NAFTA, so when we're supplying to the U.S., there really aren't meant to be duties and taxes. However, 20% of the time we get randomly dinged with it. So again, how do we monitor that? And cost-effective solutions for expanding. So not only expanding our physical product, but the software that we create for this product is used by operators around the world. How are we able to identify solutions for expanding cost effectively on that with grants from the government? So this is actually leading right into the opportunities then. So what are some of the opportunities? You'll notice that a lot of my challenges were on the logistics side and shipping. There's a great opportunity for using third parties to handle a lot of the challenges that were listed. So let's take a look at the photo here. That drawing turned into this, okay? So you can see the counter that was created out of, from it. How did I handle that situation when we get that sort of a contact asking for raw material and are we meeting the regulations? So for me, it was very easy because what I did was I just had that forwarded over to eShipper and their team. They knew exactly what was being asked for. They knew which forms needed to be filled out. Everything was handled. Within 24 hours, the shipment was released out of bond and sent to the Miami port. So it's really, really important. A lot of us focus on sales and marketing because, you know, that's the first thing that we're going to do to bring awareness of our product. And then after that, it's production of what it is that we sold to support the sale. But seldom do we actually focus on what a good solution would be on the logistics side and on shipping. And so this is kind of tying in very, very nicely with what Imtiaz had just talked about in terms of a holistic 360 solution in terms of what eShipper offers. I would also say that more importantly than pricing, although you know, Imtiaz has shared some crazy pricing on international shipments, but more important than pricing really is being able to handle a problem. So when a problem occurs, when the packages are missing in action, or when a customer says, hey, I'm tracking it and it shows that it was sent out, but I still haven't received it. Now, you know, if you're shipping 1 unit a day, well, maybe you can kind of phone up UPS or FedEx and try and find out what's going on and start a trace. But when you're doing high volume, and you have to think always about wanting to expand and do high volume, you need a force to be able to support that with for you. And as opposed to hiring someone in-house, what we do is we just use eShipper as our logistics. The moment we get an inquiry on this, we forward it to our logistics team, that being eShipper. They then handle it directly and do the follow-ups. And the last thing here is working with partners that can assist on information. So I talked to you about software. So, you know, we've coded this software in Canada. It's being used internationally. So it's great when we're able to use a platform like Magnet that's customized to us that will then populate our feed with what government grants are available for what we're doing, so we can continue to build it and take advantage of many of the services that are available that would have been very difficult to find if we didn't have that platform. The last thing I was told was, to give a tip. So my tip is 2 words. It's recognize value. Every day we have opportunities that come across our face, and seldom do we, actually take advantage of those opportunities. Phone calls come in. The moment that we know it's a sales call, we say we're not interested. I'd say if, unless it's someone calling to clean your air ducts, you might want to take a little bit of a listen. I'll conclude with one example on this. Clifton Hill, a very popular street in Niagara Falls, owned by 4 private parties. Any of you who have visited there will know Clifton Hill. It's where the big Ferris wheel is. And I gave a call to one of those parties, and I said, this is my product. This is what you can make with it. They very quickly dismissed it. It was a cold call. They weren't interested. I did the same call to the party across the road. They were interested, did a meeting, took the product, and today they're milking it by selling 3D crystals. So recognize value, and I'll pass it back to Andrew.
Thank you very much. A really interesting story. I mean, when you started out, I thought an interesting product, and you realize the global potential of something like this. And I think these are the opportunities, when you take a simple idea, use technology, use the right partners, and then you can ship this globally. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for Q&A, because there's quite a few questions here. So what I'm going to do is then, if anybody's got any other questions, feel free to post them now. And then what I'll do is I will ask our presenters to answer some of these questions. And so let me just get our presenters unmuted there. There you go. So Emily, Imtiaz, and Riaz. So the first question is for Emily. Emily, when you were presenting, you spoke about a NAICS code. And people were wondering, what is this NAICS code that you're speaking about? Can you just explain to people what NAICS codes are?
Yeah, absolutely. So NAICS stands for North American Industry Classification, and essentially, if you are a registered business, you are required to have a NAICS code. And so there are, really hundreds or even thousands of NAICS codes out there, especially when you get to the 6-digit stage. And so when you're completing a profile, we do ask for your NAICS codes, but then also for the NAICS codes of the markets that you serve. Obviously, we understand that you might not have that information handy, or, if you are a member of the business who doesn't have access to that information, it can be a little bit difficult. And so what we've done on the user side, when you're creating a business profile and you have to indicate your NAICS codes, we have a typable, fillable form where you can click in, start typing relevant keywords to the business, the type of business that you do, or the types of businesses that you serve. And we've implemented a fuzzy search. And essentially what a fuzzy search does is it grabs the keyword that you've searched and it associates it with all of the NAICS codes that are relevant to that particular keyword. And so we have every 6-digit NAICS code listed, and then under every code there are illustrative examples, because sometimes what you do business in does not directly relate to any of the words that are associated in these NAICS codes, especially since a lot of them are outdated, and a lot of them are more traditional industries and don't take into account clean tech or fintech or any of these newer and up-and-coming industries. And so that makes it a little bit easier as a business if you don't know right away what your NAICS code is. So if you don't have it handy and you're completing your profile, no worries. The fuzzy search will certainly be able to help you.
Wonderful. So we've got quite a few eShipper questions here. So Imtiaz, I'll ask the first one. So one of the questions from Shyam is there any way we can get it? Wait, there's a previous question, sorry, by Will. We always get tracking numbers for orders being exported. So that's one of the questions here. So when you create export orders, are they always tracking numbers, or is that an optional? Imtiaz.
Good question. So it depends on the size of your export order and what medium it's going to export by. If you're using a postal service or you're using an express service, if it's a larger shipment, it may be going by air freight or by sea freight. Now, for each one of those scenarios, you can definitely get a tracking number. It's just dependent on how much you're willing to pay for it. So with Canada Post, as a quick example for you, shipping across the border to the US, if you're exporting an order, may cost you $6 without tracking, but $26 with tracking, whilst express or air freight or sea freight shipment will come with a tracking order, a tracking number as a default.
There you go. So really interesting. So it just shows you having the expertise of somebody like eShipper really helps you, because I think a lot of times as small businesses, we're not really sure how this stuff works. So we'll often overpay. So I've got a question here for Riaz. Riaz, one of the questions here is, which country have you found it easier to export to, or which countries are you growing in, and do you think are the opportunities for other small business owners?
Well, the proximity of the U.S., makes the U.S. the #1 country and the first one that we would turn to after Canada. However, a lot of the locations that we sell our products in are tourist locations. So we have exposure in UK, in Europe. We've shipped to Dubai, Australia, Kuwait, so many different places, even China. Believe it, usually we think about China as being somewhere that ships out to us, and we're shipping product out there. So I would say that the lowest hanging fruit is definitely America. Next to that, I would say Europe, UK, and I would also say that this is an interesting analysis that can be done by eShipper, because a lot of what it is based on the shipping side of it, because we're producing everything pretty much at the same cost over here. So the variable is the shipping, timing to get it, and the cost, and that would be an interesting analysis for Imtiaz.
Really interesting way of thinking. And do you sell most of your products online, Riaz, or how do people find you?
So we sell, I would say it's about a 50-50 split. We're selling a lot online. A lot of the members that are signing up with us are very strong in digital marketing, so they're focused heavily online. But I have to say that, the product is a product that appeals when it's physically seen. What you saw on the screen today, you wouldn't appreciate at the same level if you physically had it in front of you. And so we're doing some great volume in malls as well, where members will set up a kiosk in a mall. People see it, they stop, they're wowed by it, they pull out their iPhone, they grab us, provide a photo, and have it produced. So, but right now it's about a 50-50.
Interesting, very interesting. All right, so we got another question here for Emily. Emily, somebody asked earlier on, what is the URL for Magnet, or how do people find Magnet Export Portal? How do they do that?
Yeah, so our more general website that provides more information on what Magnet Export is export.magnet.today. But if you are an e-commerce business, or you are shipping products and you want to be able to take advantage of eShipper services and everything you learned about today, you're definitely going to want to sign up through the eShipper.magnet.today URL. And when we send out the recording of this webinar, we'll also send out some information on how to sign up, and so you'll receive that URL in a follow-up email from us.
Very good. I've got another question here for Imtiaz. Imtiaz, for the eShipper, how do you suggest we protect ourselves from fraud when exporting and using your service? For example, clients saying that they never received a package, especially risky for first-time partners. Do you guys have a solution for that, Imtiaz?
Yeah, so this is a really, really good question, and I think there are two scenarios to be played out here. One could be a one-time order to a consumer. So I'll give you an example, like I'm shipping a T-shirt or a belt or a watch, for example, and he's just buying it once, and then his friend will buy it, and so on and so forth. And they're just small consumer orders. We provide a insurance on all our services. So whether that shipment is a local Canadian shipment, or it's going to East Africa or India or wherever else in the world, UK, we will provide you with $100 free insurance, and you can insure that up to $5,000 or $10,000 if you like. When you're shipping a larger order to a distributor, let's say you're working with somebody in the UK where you're creating your new export distribution arm, you want to work with organizations like Export Development Canada and Magnet Portal. These organizations, what Magnet Portal will do first and foremost, will actually help you to find the right type of partners. Export Development Canada is the Canadian government's credit agency. It's the official credit agency. So if you're shipping a product worth $5,000 or $10,000, the first thing they will do is actually vet the export partner you're working with, and then they will secure that product. So they will give you credit insurance on $5,000 or $10,000, which you can actually then use as a credit note with the bank in case you wanted a loan. So two different scenarios where eShipper plays a part. With the first one is we provide you free insurance or paid insurance, and with the second part, you come through us, we'll take you into the likes of Magnet Portal or the EDC and give you a dedicated support person who will answer these questions in much more detail for you.
Really interesting. So we got one more. I've got one more question for Riaz, then one for Imtiaz, and when I'm going to ask you to summarize because we're nearly at the top of the hour. But Riaz, so let me understand, you were speaking about Las Vegas. So basically you supply them the equipment and the software. Is that how it works with your entrepreneur partners?
We have three different verticals. So one vertical is where a location that needs to produce very quickly on site will actually have technology on site, and we'll provide them with the technology to do that. There's another solution where people will have like a shop, and they'll just want to display the product, sell it alongside other product, and have us fulfill the order. But the third and the most popular right now, because most people don't want to invest in technology, and I always tell people, instead of putting your money in an asset, as long as it doesn't need to be produced instantly, it's a lot better to put that money in location and marketing. And so what we do is the third solution is where they become a member. It's a one-time membership fee, and what that gives them access to is our laser room, our 3D artists, and pretty much the entire infrastructure behind them. So they're able to set up a kiosk in a mall, put all the crystals on display. We help them with the merchandising and everything. They sell the product. It goes through their till. It's their own business. And as they enter orders to us at almost like an 80% discount off of what they sold for $100, they'll pay $20 for it. Huge margin. We'll handle everything from production to sending digital previews to their customers on approval, and then finally to shipping either back to their shop or drop shipping it directly to the customer anywhere in the world.
Really interesting business model. Really, I'm glad I asked that question because it sounds like a really interesting business model, and created here, which even makes me happier. So last question for MTAS is, does eShipper integrate with any e-commerce web platforms like Joomla, Magento, Shopify? You mentioned WooCommerce. Just tell us a little bit about how it integrates.
Yes, for sure. So good question. We do integrate with a majority of the ones you just mentioned. Some have updated versions that we do not support anymore. However, we have a complete Shopify app that allows you to transition from order to live rates to tracking numbers back to your customers. So we're fully integrated with Shopify. We also provide a plugin for WooCommerce. We have a plugin for Joomla, PrestaShop, and so on and so forth, but these are a little bit older, so we would just have to discuss those with the customer case by case. And we also offer an API integration, so we have our own API document that any shopping cart is able to work with, and that will allow you to seamlessly automate everything using our shipping rates. And we have a load of customers that use this, so it's very simple to do and definitely highly recommended.
Really interesting. All right, so let's have a couple of final words. I'll start off with you, Emily, then Imtiaz, then Riaz. A couple of final words for everybody online.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you got some great information. Again, both the Magnet Export Business Portal and eShipper, what we offer, it's really about making things more convenient for you as a small business owner, and really, streamlining processes in any way possible. And then, Riaz, thank you so much for your insight. Again, I also think you have, an amazing business model, and I hope everyone keeps his products in mind because the holidays are coming up. So yeah, thank you, everyone. And again, please sign up through eShipper.magnet.today, but we'll be following up with more information.
Thank you very much for that. So Imtiaz, a couple of final words.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I think we have helped thousands and thousands of businesses thrive. Just a quick example for you, Riaz started with us almost 10 years ago when we first launched the eShipper platform. And as you can see, his business has been thriving year on year. we love to provide free consultation and free advice on how to grow your business. So you don't have to be a customer of ours that's shipping and spending a lot of money to get that level of dedication from us. We're here to really support small Canadian businesses to export across the world. And as you grow, we grow.
Thank you very much for that, Imtiaz. And Riaz, a couple of final words.
Well, what I always tell my team is that there's no reason that year over year we should not be growing our revenues and growing our business. The world is at our fingertips today. We're not restricted to just local markets. And with the third parties that you've heard about today, anyone can do it with their business. So.
Sounds really inspirational and a great story that you guys have shared with us today. So thank you very much, Emily. Thank you very much, Imtiaz from eShipper. And thank you very much, Riaz from Crystallize It. It was really, really interesting. Thank you, everybody online, for joining us this afternoon. Go to eShipper.magnet.today on the screen. Sign up for the Magnet Business Portal. Also, check out eShipper. Give them a call. Let them see if they can help you grow your business, and check out Crystallize It, and maybe there's an opportunity for some of you to scale your business and start selling these services. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great afternoon, and I look forward to meeting you at one of our webinars again. Thank you.